Hi, everybody. Michael Schechter here, welcoming you to the Wednesday Way of Life check-in. I hope everybody's having a great week. This weather outside is beautiful for exercising. By now, you should have taken a look at the week 6 materials that deal with eating out and navigating strategies for menus. Also talking about general principles that we'll touch on today when it comes to ordering different cuisines. The challenge this week, the daily challenge, is to exercise at least 15 minutes every day, which is a great habit to get into. And as always, I'm joined by Crystal Petrello, our Director of Nutrition Services, and by Lauren Charnas, who is in charge of programming and does some account management here as well. So welcome to today's lecture. Let's talk a little bit about analyzing menus. And that's actually an activity that's included in this week's materials. Take a look at some menus. You have, if you look at your resources, you'll have some websites that you can go to take a look at different fast food menus and try to put together a healthy meal or snack that fits into your overall goals for weight loss. Just a quick review of where we should be right now based on the first 6 weeks. We all should keep in mind why we're doing this. Again, to get healthy, to lose weight, to feel better, to learn, to master things like our appetites and our impulses. All are great things in terms of healthy aging. By now, and we'll talk a little bit about this, but you have to have a sense of what your daily calorie budget is. If you don't know what your daily calorie budget is, then you can't get a sense of whether or not you're eating enough food for the day. And then remembering, based on last week's lessons, that planning is key. Whether it means meal planning or anticipating and dealing with triggers that may come up, cues, parties you may go to manage your overall strategies for healthy behaviors. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about something that becomes increasingly necessary in today's fast-paced society, and that's eating on the go. Now, I'm going to talk mostly about fast food choices, but in general, there are some strategies that have been outlined in the materials that you have already for different cuisines, and again, staying away from fried foods and moving toward steamed or baked or grilled foods, mostly, of course, vegetables. I have a few resources here if you're interested in further review for fast food choices. There's a great YouTube video series called Mind Over Munch, and they bring to us 3 healthy meal choices at Chipotle, and they show us how to use the Chipotle app in terms of figuring out nutritional content. So that's a great site. In addition, you can you can Google your fast food restaurants and search them because all restaurants and similar retail food establishments that have at least 20 locations must provide nutritional information, and that's really, again, helpful to us when we have to eat on the go. Now, there are some basic assumptions I want to get clear that, first of all, fast food is rarely the healthiest option. It's always great to pack things and take your own snacks or meals with you, but sometimes it just happens. And again, be prepared to supplement some of these recommendations with some personal food stashes. So again, keep some healthier bars or some nuts or other healthy snacks in the food to supplement any fast food selections that you have to make. Again, just to reiterate, restaurants and similar food retail establishments that are part of a chain with 20 or more locations must provide nutritional information. So you will know most of the time when you pull into a place, the potential consequences of the choices that you make. I want you to all keep in mind that calorie budget. In addition, work on minimizing saturated fat. So saturated fat comes from animals and animal products, and often saturated fat comes from frying foods. So we want to minimize saturated fat. We want to minimize sodium sodiums in salt, but in other ingredients, and maximize produce picks and fiber. So we want to, again, look for ways where we can get some vegetables and fruits in even our fast food meals. Your calorie budget, again, I refer you to this wonderful site through the USDA that shows us our daily reference intakes for certain calories and nutrients. And again, this is a screenshot of my calorie budget and my nutrients based on being a 61-year-old guy who's around 185 pounds, 2,800 calories a day because I exercise a lot. I look for 30 grams of fiber. I look for at least 67 grams of protein and between 67 and 113 grams of fat, but clearly less saturated fat. So, not a lot of that fat should be coming from unhealthy sources. And then finally, my sodium budget is somewhere between 1,500 and 2,300 milligrams. And that's one of the things that may be most challenging to you when you look at different fast food choices. So we're going to take a look at some different fast food choices. But first, let's talk about what our goal might be. When I go to a fast food restaurant, personally, I have certain goals. I want to leave there with less than 700 calories in my bag or in my passenger seat. I want to have 8 to 10 grams of fiber. I want to have some protein. I want to minimize animal fat, as I said, stay between 15 and 30 grams. Try to keep my sodium below 1,000 milligrams. Again, my daily budget for sodium is somewhere between 1,500 and 2,300 milligrams, and I want to try to have some produce picks. Now, I also have some rules. I don't get soda. I don't get sweetened beverages. That's a lot of sugar. That's a lot of empty calories. I watch salad dressings. I watch dips and toppings. I try to stay away from fried foods, reminding myself that grilled is usually better. If I'm at a Mexican restaurant or a Chipotle type of restaurant, I try to stay away from the chips, which adds significantly to the calorie count. And then I order light and drive away. When things are in my rearview mirror, it's much harder to get in there for seconds. Also remember, salads are not always healthy. Use the resources that you have to determine calorie counts for things like dressings and other salad toppings. Keep in mind your targets. Again, if you're on less calories than I am, you may have to have a bit more strict targets, but keep in mind the targets that you want to get as you analyze the nutritional information from your different choices. So let's start with a classic these days takeout restaurant that people often feel may offer them healthy choices, and that's Chipotle. And what you see on here is a screenshot from their app where you pick your protein, you pick your grains, you pick additional condiments, etc., and you construct a meal. Now, I construct a burrito bowl with steak, brown rice, lots of black beans, tons of fajita vegetables, and you can see the calorie counts and the protein and everything for the meal that I chose. This burrito bowl, only 565 calories, not too bad. It meets most of my targets with the exception of the sodium. The sodium's at 1,530 milligrams. And if you'll remember, you don't really salt your food at Chipotle, but remember that processed foods, especially fast foods, often have a lot of sodium added to them for different reasons, certainly taste, but also maybe so you refill that soda cup occasionally. So again, please remember to be proactive in those things, grab some water, and remember, you may be a little thirsty after this meal, but that's my go-to meal when I pop into Chipotle. And usually, again, I can make up for things at dinner with a little healthier choices. I also pop by Chick-fil-A once in a while. And if you take a look at a Chick-fil-A menu and you try to stay on the grilled side rather than the fried side, there's a grilled chicken sandwich. There's also grilled chicken tenders. I like the Chick-fil-A because they have nice fruit cups. They're sort of expensive, but they do provide you with, a a produce pick, if you will, and a side salad. The side salads are very good, especially if you choose the light dressings, but pay attention to the dressings because that can make a big difference. So the beauty about this Chick-fil-A meal that I'm showing you right here, or snack, depending on your appetite level, is that it meets all my criteria. It's under 700 calories. There's plenty of fiber, or decent amount of fiber, decent amount of protein, not a ton of fat. And I stayed below 1,000 milligrams on my sodium. So I like that one as well. I don't have a screenshot of the Chick-fil-A app, but again, this was all calculated based on their app. So so far I've shown you 2 places where you can do okay for yourself, and in both cases get a little bit of produce picks out of it. My last go-to restaurant occasionally is McDonald's. I think it's just because of the way I was raised. Occasionally I gotta have Mickey D's, once in a while. Now, when I go to McDonald's, I end up usually with a McChicken sandwich, which is, of course, fried, but, I still, can get by with 400 calories, a fair amount of saturated fat here. If you look closely at the nutrition calculator, that again is right off the McDonald's website. It looks like that may come out pretty small on your screens, but trust me, you can go right to mcdonalds.com and make these choices for yourself. If I go to McDonald's, I usually have to have some fries. So I'm trying to be as transparent as possible here. I don't make great choices all the time. I certainly could have a salad, but then I probably wouldn't go to McDonald's. And finally, some apple slices. I can have some apple slices, so at least I get a little bit of produce. When I take a look at this little snack here, or meal, again, if you prefer, we're talking about 635 calories, 31 grams of fat. Not a ton of fiber in this, not surprisingly. The bread, in the case of McDonald's, is enriched white bread, which doesn't have a ton of fiber or nutrition in it. And again, a little bit higher on my fat content than I'd like to be. Stayed underneath on the sodium, especially if I don't salt the fries, right? So these doing okay. Again, I can get by with this. And remember, our initial recommendations is fast food can't be a habit. You have to, again, plan to have most of your meals prepared by yourself. Oh, I forgot about Taco Bell. How could I? Again, Taco Bell, a place that I go once in a while. This was sort of instructive to me because, I try to order healthy things based on sort of my instincts. But when I look things up, this is what I found. If I go to Taco Bell and I get a chicken soft taco, 1 bean burrito, and an order of black beans, I'm doing, again, pretty decently, 560 calories, 16 grams of total fat. My sodium is a little high, and that's the one that I sort of miss out on there. Again, sodium, 1,650 milligrams. This screenshot is right off the Taco Bell website. And again, another example of how you can use the web to make your choices as healthy as possible. So what did we learn today? Well, I guess we can say that fast food can occasionally work into a healthy lifestyle once in a while. Prepare yourself with information and have a few go-to items that won't blow your calorie budget or make you feel bad about yourself, and use apps or websites to check your choices. I leave you with, again, a reminder that accountability is so important in way of life. Are you tracking? Please try to track. Remember, you can only go back for 3 days to assess how you've been doing. And balance. Life is about balance. And again, we want you to balance that accountability with an element of self-forgiveness. Remember, human beings are capable of change, and change can start any day. So again, if today's bad, tomorrow can be a better day. Try to stay as optimistic as possible. By now, you should have reached a few milestones in your ability to handle your diet. You should understand your eating habits. You should teach yourself to slow down and savor your meals. Put your fork down in between bites. stay in the moment, enjoy the elements of the food that you're eating, understand your daily or weekly calorie budget, figure out how to get produce picks into every meal, eat whole grains instead of processed grains. And as I say every week, understand the importance of exercise, not only for stress management, not only for maintaining muscle mass and building cardiovascular fitness, but also to allow you to increase your calorie budget. So vigorous exercise goes a long way in terms of helping us burn calories. Learning ways to understand and control your hunger. Another thing that I hope you're acquiring by now. What I often tell people are the 4 Ds. Drink water, deep breathe, do something else, and above all, don't overeat. So you want to do that. And hopefully by now you're experiencing some weight loss if that's what you're looking for. It doesn't look like we have any questions or comments right now. So I will say thanks again for attending. Keep up the great work out there. Please reach out to us, share your victories, challenges, and questions. And also, if you want to talk to a registered dietitian or a health coach about SMART goals and importing those into your life as you do way of life, just reach out and give us a call. Remember, all of our services are available at no cost to you, and we're happy to do it. So I will bid you adieu, and I will see you next week. Thanks again for coming in.